And welcome to our third video in this series. This is the Oregon Historical Society.
So this building is located right in downtown Portland.
Yeah, no, it's exactly.
It's pretty easy to get to, and we actually found it by accident, so pretty cool.
So let's just...
This is a picture of their backdrop with a few of their pop-up exhibits in the front there. Basically, it has the whole historical society takes us from the caveman days of Oregon to all the way to modern times. And what I found generally very interesting about the Historical Society is they make it very clear that they're not necessarily a museum. They are a repository of historical items, and that's on display. So I thought that was a very interesting distinction about them.
Right. When I first heard that it's the society, I thought it was going to be a members lounge and then maybe the museum across the street. No, this is the thing. And it is called the Oregon Historical Society, and most of the talking is not going to be me, so I'm going to hit the next slide.
So obviously I arranged our pictures in a way that makes sense to a historian. I start off with, as opposed to doing a timeline, I'm doing types of exhibits that were shown to us. So this is obviously all of their ancient stuff, caveman stuff. You've got shoes and slippers, bags in the first slide there. That's from like 6500 BC. And then you have some tools, some weapons here in a little later, like 5000 BC.
Right, we're just going to do a few pictures from each part of the... If you want to see everything, you got to go. You got to go.
So this is kind of was an interesting display. I thought it was pre-Oregon Trail. Everyone kind of knows, wagons going west and the Oregon Trail and and all that stuff. And but this is the type of tools they had pre that. So, and I mean, I'm jumping around a bit, but just because the Historical Society jumped around a little bit. And I'm an oral historian. I love oral history. And of course, I had to put up some really cool stuff that they had regarding oral history. And of course, their local oral historian there.
And I'm going to lamely change the subject just for a moment and say that it does have memberships, but if you're not a member and you're just wandering through the world like we are, it is $10. Students are only 8. I wish I had my student ID at the time. I did not. If you're over 60, $8. And if you're a kid, let's say 6 to 18, $5. And finally, I believe it's free for anyone who's under 5. All right, that was too much of that.
And of course, as somebody who is a historian, as I keep saying, I'm also
Bragging.
interested in preservation, and I just loved this one display they had, which was explaining to the public about what it is to make sense of time and place and that specific combination. And that's what makes the Oregon Historical Society very unique.
We're not pausing it, but you can.
These I just thought were cool. We've got some of their the different covers that they've had, magazine covers, really beautiful, and of course some of the pins that they've made for different causes. This is of course got some feminist things here, as you can tell. Just some really awesome stuff
from various decades. But all right, let's move on.
Now, they had so many things for kids, and just they made it so that kids can understand everything, but this space was specifically for kids. This is their where they have books of people of different cultures, immigrants, different
Native
colors,
Americans,
yet native
Indians, are we
peoples.
using?
And then of course they have like a historical part, but then they also have this very now modern, stand up for fairness, challenges and choices, where it gets kids to think about, standing up for what's right. And I think that's a great thing for a historical society to push, especially a modern one.
Right, we're talking about both bullying and these kind of microaggressions all the way up to the historical racism that the museum has to depict. Um, and so that's a reading nook where they do activities of reading to a group, but it's also a quiet place to just grab a book and read it. All right.
And this was another kind of for kids, but adults can really appreciate it too. This was a literal not an actual wagon, but it's the right size. It's to scale. They built it to scale so that we adults and kids can understand how little these families had that moved westward. And then you can see on the inside, and you can actually walk through it. And you can see exactly how long it is and where kind of
Not very big at
where
all for the
things
Oregon
were.
Trail.
Right. And where people slept, well, not in the wagon. They
I
did
would have
not.
died of dysentery.
And well, you can't. This is the future. This is our history. This is our past. And treaties that were made with the Native Americans that we know were all broken one by one. But what I appreciate about the Oregon Historical Society is that they have not shied away from showing the sins of Oregon's past. Um, for true reparation, you need to admit your wrongdoings. And this was a really great display where they showed all of these treaties around the Native American tribes and how each one just got
Yeah.
destroyed, just got taken down by them. And of course, again, I appreciate the changing landscape. How, even though we have a tawdry past, we can do the things to make it right.
And I think that in general, this museum kind of shows a template that we're going to talk about this again. Look, we're more than a month in the future, so we know which museums we're going to be like, kind of missed the mark, but you'll have to stay tuned for that.
And of course, more admissions of the wrongdoings from the Chinese that had moved to the Latinos, the original caballeros, the original cowboys, and of course the Japanese Americans, the wrongs that were done to them. So again, I appreciate how honest they were about their past.
Right. We can have heroes and we can celebrate it, but let's not pretend that everything was happy.
And of course, celebrating Black history with, Juneteenth and the rights to vote, and of course, freedom. And a little bit more modern, where we've got, queer history being recognized here as
Just a
well.
bunch of different little
Yeah.
causes.
And you can see as the years had gone by in the 70s, they were getting much more liberal, fight for the beaches and vote yes for safe energy.
Right, you notice Harvey Milk is up here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a whole video, but he deserves many. All right.
And this is just a small recognition that they have to give to the native
Various tribes in the area
that lived in the area. They each had a flag, and there's a video that's on loop that talks about each nation and their contributions.
Right, and I believe this is where they talk about bringing back a specific language from the brink and allowing it to be a real living language.
And the last, but one of their biggest exhibits was all about water. And this, of course, is very reminiscent with Hawaii and water, and of course, very recently with Red Hill, and just how water is so important, not to just indigenous people, but to all people. We are water, the earth is water. And
Yeah,
they had this just amazing exhibit, and the rest of the
fantastic
slides is just showing some of the
parts of it.
parts of the exhibit. So of course it's a little out of order, but the um, they talk about the exhibit, and of course water in all the different native
Languages.
languages, and just
So we're on different sides of the same thing,
yeah.
just kind of zoomed in. Pause if you'd like.
And of course, I had to take that final picture of water is life and their own modern issues with water and preservation and conservation.
Well, fantastic. I think that you should definitely go there if you're within 1,000 miles of it. Um, it was really good, had a lot of good points to it, and hopefully we get this all uploaded today. All right, till next time.
Bye.